Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about my thoughts on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem trailer, or just the movie in general, even though the movie hasn't came out yet, just the trailer, because the movie is actually coming out very soon, and they're just now starting to promote it. I don't understand this strategy that Hollywood is starting to do, where they're starting to promote at the very last minute. So, I know a lot of people are very excited for this. They're jumping up and down. They're loving the trailer. For me personally, I'm on the fence because I've been on the fence ever since I heard Seth Rogen was producing this and making this and everything. Because I'm just like, it's Seth Rogen. So there's bound to be some weed jokes up in there. It's bound to be mindless humor in there. Because that's just what he does and people love him for that. I've actually only seen one movie with him in it, and I actually own it. It's Green Hornet. Now, yes, Green Hornet bombed at the box office. Yes, it was different than the original show. I never watched the original show, but I found Green Hornet to be very hilarious. Seth Rogen is a very funny man and everything, And so I enjoy Green Hornet for what it was. Back then, my funny bone wasn't broken. Disney MCU did not break it just yet. And so now I'm in a point in time where Marvel, MCU, Disney and stuff has broken my funny bone. And everything. And so for me, I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I grew up with the original series. I've seen many interpretations of it. For the most part, I like every interpretation I see. There are a few I do not. The only ones I flat out hate are the Michael Bay movies and Rise of TMNT. Those are the only two I hate. Everything else I love. Well, actually, the anime one, I've never seen that. Like, never. But, I've seen, the 80s cartoon, the 2003 cartoon, the music tour, all the live action ones, the entire CGI one that came out, the fourth one, the 2012 CGI one. So, I got my Turtles content and everything. And so I know when it comes to Ninja Turtles, it could be for any generation, plain and simple as that. But what I've been noticing is that there's been somewhat of a downgrade from Ninja Turtles starting actually it's been starting even with the music tour. That was a downgrade. I don't like the tour, but I like the music. But ever since halfway into the 2003 series, when they started going to fast forward and all that other crap, there's been a downgrade in Ninja Turtles. Either with the CGI or the animation, I should say. Either with the animation or the story or their portrayals or their humor and everything. I've been noticing that there's been a whole lot more humor in Ninja Turtles to accommodate for the kids and everything, because they're starting to make it more and more juvenile for kids. And if they don't make the humor more pleasing to kids, they make the animation more pleasing to kids. It took me a long time to watch the 2012 series because I hated, still to this day, that animation. The turtles look very blocky and everything, almost like they were little toys and everything. And so because of that, I didn't want to watch it. But there's one dude I used to conversate with on YouTube. He told me just forget about the animation and just watch the series because it's really good. So at some point in time, many years later after he said that, I decided to watch it finally. I'm like, oh wait, this is actually a pretty cool show. And so it was the animation that nearly almost got me to not want to watch it. And that's my problem with a lot of newer stuff today. The animation is very, very juvenile looking. Spectacular Spider-Man, a great series, but I almost didn't watch it because of the animation, because it looked like something like a little kid would draw. What was that Justice League Adventure show that came out a while back on Cartoon Network? I don't like that cartoon, period, and I also don't like the juvenile looking animation to that. And so with a lot of properties I've been noticing, everything is starting to get very kiddish looking. When you watch those Cartoon Network shorts of DC projects, they look very juvenile looking. And it's something that's been bugging me. It's like kids can accept things for whatever, you know what I'm saying? They don't need it to be dumbed down to where it looks preschool looking. And I remember when I first saw the images of the turtles a while back, and this one, I'm all like, wow, that's kind of like a 5-year-old drew that and everything. I'm like, and then Michelangelo has braces of all things. And of course, they made Donatello, my favorite one, be an ultra nerd and everything. I hate that. Every incarnation of him for a good while now, for like at least a decade and a half, he's been like a super nerdy geek. He's either wearing goggles or glasses, or his voice is really corny and everything. And that bugs me because he is my favorite. And so, like, and I know Next Mutation is not like the best thing in the world and everything. And even they screwed up and stuff, but then they still had, and it's weird because it's like, that show had a mature look, but a really silly vibe. And I didn't understand that. I'm like, I'm still don't understand that to the day. And then when you go to the Michael Bay stuff, that was just an abomination all around. The designs were disgusting looking. The acting was terrible. The plot was stupid. And so, like, then there was Rise of TMNT. And I just threw my hands up in the air. I said, I can't take this no more. This is just stupid. And just like with Next Mutation and Rise to TMNT, they're not even real brothers because they're all different species of turtles and stuff. And so now we get to this. And so I was worried that like it might be juvenile because it's Seth Rogen. And for the most part, it is. And so like even with the opening credits talking about from the permanent teenager of Seth Rogen, if you can't even take yourself seriously in the credits, then that lets me know your entire movie is going to be like play school type stuff. And so the animation style takes from that from Into the Spider-Verse. And my only problem with that is Into the Spider-Verse is very good, is very unique for what it was, and the animation style looks the way it does for a certain reason. Why are people now trying to copy that? And now that movie came out years ago and stuff. I don't know when exactly it came out, but it came out a very long time. I think it came out before the pandemic, I think it came out around 2018, 2019 or something like that. It was a time when I had Netflix. I don't remember the last time I even had Netflix. And so it came out a good while back, I remember. And people are now trying to copy that style. Like Batman Beyond, the movie that's coming out, is going to copy that style. And so when I first saw the animation drawings and just the still pictures online, I didn't like it. But when I saw everything moving around, I'm all like, okay, this is kind of interesting. It has like a sketch type look. So I can respect it for its unique style, even though it's copying from another style. But it looks like a hand-drawn sketch type thing. After a while, with all the them moving around and the bright colors and everything and that sketch work, it starts to hurt my eyes after a while. And so it becomes a little bit jarring. And then so the designs of the turtles themselves, even though I'm mixed because they look okay, but they also look kind of weird. The turtles once again look like a hybrid between a lizard and a frog. In the entire CGI TMNT movie, the fourth movie that ever came out, they look like frogs in that. In the Ninja Turtles music tour, their faces look like lizards with really elongated smiles, like a mouthpiece, and really a lot of teeth. And that's how these are. They're a hybrid of the TMNT CGI turtles and the music tour thing. They just look like a frog with a lizard's face on it and stuff, and lots and lots of teeth. And it's really kind of ugly. Because we all remember what those things looked like back in the day in the music tour. And so They all have their classic weapons, but they've been kind of like redesigned. That's totally fine. Raphael's sides are a lot tinier. Donatello bow staff is very unique. Part of it has like, the cloth like wrapped around like a band, and other parts has kind of like this block motion that you see a lot of staffs have nowadays. So it's a very unique hybrid. Michelangelo only appears to have one nunchuck apparently, and it's a very long like chain to it. But other than that, like their designs are actually very similar to the scheme of the 80s cartoon with the color bandanas and pads and stuff like that. Everybody, from what I can remember, has the same type of mask, except for Raphael, who has the pirate bandana thing. Now, I like the pirate bandana thing that was started in Next Mutation, but it's always weird how Raphael is the only one with a different mask and stuff like that, and everybody else has the more traditional mask. And so, like, they actually got real teenagers to voice this, which is actually kind of cool. This has never happened before. And you forget how young teenagers sound. So they sound very juvenile in this. Especially Donatello, he sounds like a baby. He sounds like a baby. He acts once again like a baby. He gets stabbed with like the side by mistake, and he cries, and he sounds like a baby. I'm so sick and tired. I'm disrespecting Donatello. It was bad enough when College Humor did it. And now everybody's been doing it ever since. And it's like Donatello's supposed to be smart and cool, but in a smart kind of way. But then they keep making him nerdy and babyish now. Raphael seems to have no real edge to him. Like he did in the 2003 cartoon, and he's more like the 80s cartoon, making a bunch of jokes and acting really silly. All of their dialogue is very, very juvenile because they're in their preteen state, like 13, something like that, which is fine and unique. But it's just, I don't know. I've always liked tall turtles that act adult like. I never looked at the Ninja Turtles as teenagers, like never. I've always looked at them as adults because they sounded like adults. For the most part, in the 80s, they really didn't. But they always was a bit taller and stuff, like bulkier and stuff, but they always reminded me of adults. And so Splinter has an afro in this, and he's wearing sunglasses. And I don't understand why they're trying to make Splinter so hip. He's supposed to be a wise old like rat and everything, a sensei. And they keep trying to make him hip and cool, and they keep trying to change his hairstyle lately, I've been noticing. I just like the basic design. April looks fine in this. She looks ordinary. I don't know if she's a teenager or an adult, or if she's in between, because you can't really tell because she's around the same height as the turtles and stuff. Once again, she's been race bent to black, and I know the internet is gonna explode because of that, because that's just how racist people are nowadays. But people need to remember the original April design. She was half black, half Asian, and then it got changed for the comic very soon because they didn't want that, because they wanted to cater to white people and stuff. And so like this movie has a lot of characters, a lot, and I mean a lot of villains and a lot of side hero characters. Mondo Gecko, Leatherface, Baxter Stockman's in this, Superfly, whoever that is, and Bebop and Rocksteady. And my only problem with this movie being this stuffed, full of characters, will it cause it to like crash and burn? Because if you have this many characters and you can't develop them all, and they're just either cameos or a small role or undeveloped roles, people are gonna get irritated by that, because that's normally what happens. In Turtles Forever, Razor and whatever that other dude name was, they only had cameos in that. And I'm like, how you gonna Toka and Razor? That's it. Like, how you gonna have them in that, but only had them in a cameo and everything? And so I am on the fence with this. It's not my style, plain and simple as that. I'm tired of Ninja Turtles getting more and more sillier. I'm tired of the animation looking more and more, not so much atrocious, but just, ugh, you know what I'm saying? And like I'm tired of the storyline being very, very, very mundane or very, very, very kiddie and everything. And so like I just need something a bit more mature for me, because I grew up with this. Like I was the generation that grew up with this. And so I really like it when it has that maturity level to it and stuff. Because I'm not a kid no more. The 80s cartoon was fine for what it was because I was a kid then. But then when I look back on the 80s cartoon, I can still watch a lot of the episodes, but then some of the other episodes I just cringe at because it gets a bit cringy. That is one of the reasons why every new interpretation of Turtles constantly makes fun of the 80s cartoon, which pisses me off because I grew up with that. And if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't even be where they are today. But they keep making fun of the 80s cartoon. And so for the most part, I would have really liked this if it was similar to the art style of the original comic. And maybe they follow the same storyline, you know what I'm saying? Because Ninja Turtle, it's been so far removed from what it used to be. The 2003 series, probably the closest it was when they used to follow the comic, but then it stopped following the comic and everything, and it started doing its own thing. When they did its own thing, it just kind of like fell from that. The 2003 series was amazing. The animation style, the voice cast. But then once they went into like that 5th lost season and then fast forward, everything went downhill from that. And so I really hope this will be good. I have no idea whenever I'll watch it, but a lot of people are pumped. When it comes to Ninja Turtle, most people are just like, we don't care. We'll just accept it for whatever it is. I can't do that because I have such a strong passion for it and a maturity for it, and Disney has broken my funny bone. Well, that didn't take long for white Twitter to go crazy in the head. So once again, after the trailer dropped and I go on Twitter, boom, April O'Neil is trending. Not Ninja Turtles, just April O'Neil. Why? Because white people are pissed that she's been race bent to black. And once again, they don't know their Ninja Turtles history because originally she was half black and half Asian to mimic that of one of the creators' ex-girlfriend. That's how she was. They sent it in. She had the Jerry curl. But for whatever reason, the comic book people or the other creator decided to turn her white. And so she was white for the cartoon, and she's always had brown hair. People just assume her hair is red, but it's always been brown. And so after a while, they started to make it red in the 2003 and in 2012 cartoon series. However, a black April O'Neil shouldn't like piss you off that much because she was black in the TMNT, or Rise of TMNT. And yes, it caused the firestorm back then, but then you got over it, but now all of a sudden you're pissed off again because you act like you forgot about it. And I don't know how you can forget about it because it literally just got canceled like a year or two ago. And like seriously, all you're doing is causing people to hate your race, man. Like seriously, y'all act so pissed about everything. If somebody's a person of color, you're pissed. If somebody's LGBT, you're pissed. And it's like, seriously, you keep talking about everybody's replacing y'all and everything. You're replacing yourselves, man. You're causing people to hate y'all and not want nothing to do with y'all. But it's not all of y'all. It's just a group of racist people. And so they interpret that with the entire race. It's similar to that with my race. Like, because there's certain like black people who are ghetto and thuggish and in gangs and stuff like that, they assume all black people are like that, and they're not. And seriously, like, what is y'all problem and everything? You think you're doing your race a service by protecting it, but all you're doing is causing people to hate y'all behind and stuff like that. I just don't understand people. It's like y'all want to be the only race in the world, or at least the only race on TV or in movies. It's not like that. The world is blended and you're getting left behind. And you're making the good ones look bad just by association and everything. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.